Hi, I'm Chris. This is Miller Plays, and we are doing something a little bit different this time. We are giving a club a golden generation. And if that, we'll then test, see how it goes. We'll give them 10 years, see what they do in that time. After that, we're going to start again. We're going to give them £1 billion sponsorship over 6 or 7 years and just see how they get on with that. So, is a golden generation better than a massive sponsorship deal? We'll find out. And we'll then run the experiment again with giving them a massive stadium. We'll knock their stadium down. We'll build up this massive, biggest stadium in the UK. Not quite as big as Wembley, though. And we'll see if that improves their chances. And that club is going to be Portsmouth. So first up, we have the golden generation of giving Portsmouth 11 youth players massive potential upgrades and forced 2 of them to be future transfer sales, one in 2034, I think it was, and one in 2036. So it just meant that they guaranteed to have 2 players for a number of years. So I've now added myself in as Portsmouth manager, and we can see we'll go to the Championship first of all. And in the first season, they got relegated. So it's a golden generation. They're all 16 or 17, so you wouldn't expect them to do too much. So they did get relegated in the first year, which, yeah, hardly surprising. So in the second season, in League One, they finished 8th. And then 13th a year later, all 5th. So it might be that they had some of them playing at that point. I'm not sure. Can we see fixtures? And we'd have to go back to that kind of era. Will it show us the team? Not especially. Conte was definitely one of them. So yeah, it's going to be very difficult, I think, because there isn't a great deal of team history. So I think what I'm going to have to do is go through transfer history then. And if we start at the bottom, they didn't sell anyone there. So this first year then, let's see. Agu was definitely one of them. We can see that he was there. They then loaned him out to Bromley. The following season, they loaned him out to Bristol City, Rovers, before selling to Chelsea for 4.9 million. Had him back on loan and played 6 times. And then sort of disappeared from Chelsea, never played for Chelsea. Went off to the Netherlands and has an okay career in Heerenveen. So if we have a look, we can see attributes-wise, potential 182. He's never had that kind of ability. So 128 current ability. So there's the first one. That was in this year, wasn't it? Michael Anai. So he was loaned out to Wimbledon. Played a few games there before being sold the following season to Chelsea for 5.25. So Chelsea sniffing around straight away. They loaned him to Watford and Hull. He had 2 appearances over 2 years for Chelsea before moving to Ipswich, where he's been ever since. And if we have a look, his abilities, the potential ability has dropped down. His current ability, he is quite a good player then. So we don't know exactly because that's obviously he's at Ipswich. I suppose what we could do is move to my club. Yeah, confirm that. Squad. Is he there straight away? What's happened to Michael Anai? I don't know. I'm using the editor. And I've no idea what's happened to him. Right, we'll just go back to transfers. And it was this year, wasn't it? And there we go. He's a playmaking wing back who is, you have to say, rather decent. So a good Premier League player. So there we go. That's the first one we've really seen. They didn't really have any use for him. Was this guy one of them? I'm not sure. I should have made a note. It does appear so, and he does look rather good. So he's at PSV. So if you ever look at his career, had a loan spell at Barrow, stuck around on a free join Forest, was then sold. So he has had quite the career and was probably one of the reasons that Portsmouth were promoted back to the Championship and survived in the Championship at least one season, but then left because he wanted more money. And who can blame him? Oh, we're on the wrong year, aren't we? Jake Farrell, Dexter Lee, doesn't ring a bell. So he wasn't one. He wasn't one of the golden generation. Ruben Swan was, and it looks like he's retired. Fraser Thomas. He wasn't, or if he was, he has done nothing. This is a sad, sad situation, isn't it? Baker's retired. Martin. Kieran Martin. He's at Chelsea, so he probably is one of them. If we have a look at the attributes, potential ability now 172, current ability 160. So he is one of the superstars, and we can see that he started playing in League One, getting better. Aston Villa snuck in with an £8.25 million bid. Thank you very much. Loaned him to Sheffield United. He did appear for a few times for Villa, and then as soon as he got settled, Chelsea came along, bought him. This is how not to deal with a golden generation. Who else did we have? Teo Singer. He was another one. So we can have a look at him. 141. He's right up there with the 184. And we can see that Man City came swooping in after establishing himself. 6.25. Couple of games for City. Loaned him out to Birmingham. A game for City before selling him for 52 million to Spurs. And he's almost becoming a regular now at the age of 25, 26 for Spurs. Another sad waste. Jake Mackey, probably not. Ramsgate. Agu. This is another one, definitely. We can see 182 potential, only 128 current, so he's never got right up there. So loaned to Bromley and Bristol Rovers, sold to Chelsea for 4.9 million. On to Heerenveen. Yeah, not good. Molor. No, he's too young. I apologise here. I should have made a note of exactly the ones I upgraded for their super generation. I'm guessing then if we just look at players that have gone for any kind of money, Callum Styles, he's 35, so it won't be him. Right, 30, 31. 31, 32. Who have they? So here we go. Graham Fisher. No, he's too young. All in all, given the AI, here's one, Reggie Buckland. If we have a look at him, he's pretty good, 146, potential 177. I forced him onto Barcelona. Barcelona said, nah, he's not good enough for us. That he was a regular from an early age. Look, so he was one of the leading lights. And then that forced transfer meant he did leave then. And yeah. Toby Stewart would have been one. We can see him. He was out on loan, so I don't think that's just natural. I think there was a goalkeeper I did. Who was that? He's not still around, is he? Let's have a look. Goalkeepers. Conal McDermott. That was him. So if we have a look at him, 185 potential. He's never lived up to his potential. And look at the games he hasn't played. He's been with Portsmouth all that time and has just not played. And they've basically killed him off. And there's one player we should be able to see. He will have a huge price tag, and there he is. The last one is Jermaine Osifo. He's been forced to stay there until next year when he joins Newcastle for stupid money, and he's never been a regular. There we have it, potential ability 197. So this golden generation that they had, they've done absolutely nothing with it other than get relegated and sit around in the wrong areas. So, yeah, give the AI a golden generation, and what happens? It doesn't use it. Right, on to the next one then. A big lump of cash. Rightio, this time's a bit different. So in this scenario, we've gave Portsmouth a massive sponsorship deal over the course of 5 years, I think it was. It was worth £1 billion. So how much money have they got in the bank? 158 million. So plenty of money in the bank. What's the recruitment budget? 36 million, 713,000 pounds a week. So that's all quite nice. They are in the Premier League. So if we have a look at last season, they were not in the Premier League, so they've only recently got promoted. So let's do that season. So they got promoted there. The year before then, are they a yo-yo club? That's the year before, isn't it? Yes, they are a yo-yo club. So that one there, no sign of them. No sign. Should have started from the beginning, shouldn't I? We know the ending. So they are pretty much, or have been. Oh no, in the first year of that. Right, so in the first year, the sponsorship didn't kick in. So they got relegated in the first year. So in the second year then, they have this big influx of money. They finish 5th and get promoted through the playoffs. So the following year then, that's that one, isn't it? And they get relegated again. They've got this huge income again, and they get relegated. So how do they get on? They sneak past Sheffield Wednesday. on goal difference to get promoted. So that is 28-29. Back in the Championship. They certainly are a yo club, aren't they? 29-30. Stability. They finished in the top half of the Championship. 30-31. It's around about this time or the next year that the sponsorship income disappears, but they do get promoted. They go up with Brentford. We know they come down. Hold on. Did they spend more than 1 year there? So that's 31-32. So in the 32-33, they finished 17th, just about avoiding relegation. Then they were relegated. And then we know, I've done it again. 33-34. That's when they got the relegation. And then, how about that? 34-35, 110 points. They absolutely blitzed the league. So what can we see? So in that first year, they brought in a free agent. So this is when the money started hitting, and they spent 8.75 million. Bailey Cadamarteri was a £7 million purchase. And they sold Segacic for 3.8 million. The following year, 40 million. So that's when they got relegated, wasn't it? They got up to the Championship and got themselves relegated. They spent 40 million. They brought in 3 players from Huddersfield: Joe Lowe, Ruben Ruskin, and Ronan Kapika. Lyndon Gooch. They spent big money on Ronan Kapika from Cardiff, and even bigger money on Piers Charles from Sheffield Wednesday. They did sell Zach Swanson to Cardiff and Andre Dazelle to Colorado. Dazelle went on loan, and then his transfer became permanent. The following year, they spent 40 million again. They brought in this guy, Simon Babubra, a left winger. And we can see he came in for 6.5 million. He's done quite well. He's been a consistent performer. So they signed him from Saudi Arabia for 16.5 million. He's on 170 grand a week. Was it this year? Yeah, it was this year. They also signed Alaya Kran from Telstar for 2.5 million. 2.1 million. Ryan Metu from Grignan for 2.5, and then Octavio from Paris for 12.75. He's still around. He's a Brazilian centre back. He's on 165 grand a week now. Right, so the following year, it's 57 million they've spent this year. Ollie Skulls from West Ham. He's since gone. 1.2 million on Gabriel Schutler. Right, a big money bit. Try Hume from Sheffield United, 24.5 million. A right wing back. Am I in the right year? I'm not, am I? It's 30-31 we want, he says confidently. Yes, this is the one. That was 24.5 million. They've then bought Lloyd Kelly for 3.5 and Theo Lebris for 11.5 million. There was also Tommy Doyle for 7.25 from Leeds. So Theo Lebris, he's since moved on to Derby. 11.5 million, wasn't very good, released on a free. Right, the following year, spent 67 million. Yunus Emre Kanak from Brentford for 14.25. He's still around, never been a performer. Next in through the door was Beto, who's now head of youth development. That's just staff history. Haven't got his playing history. Okay. 2.3 million on Charlie Patino. Noah Taylor came from Sheffield United. They seem to buy from Sheffield United and sell to Leeds, don't they? The Leeds spent 18 million on him. Just come in, not done very well, and pretty much doubled their money on him, so that's not a bad purchase. Harrison Burrows from Fulham for 15 and a quarter. And Petrov from Al Reed for 10.5 million. He did all right in his 3 games. And then sold for 2.2. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Harrison Burrows. Oh, look, he's still at Portsmouth. He's had one really good season in the Championship, another reasonable season in the Championship, and 2 poor seasons in the Prem. $65 million this year. Who's the big money boy? Chido Obi from Manchester United. Signed for 19, sold for 30. So there's a good bit of business there. Benjamin Bookie from Heideheim. He's still around. He's had a couple of good seasons, a couple of average ones, but he's sticking around. 140 grand a week. Who can blame him? 22 million on Ivan Bazja from PSV. He is a 24-year-old Serbian who's still around. PSV bought him in the summer before for 11.5 million. He's not set the world on light. Wrong year. Christ Makusu from Luton. 8 million. He's had a season on loan where he's played, but he hasn't really played. They've just wasted some money, haven't they? 33-34. They didn't buy anyone. The sponsorship money's run out, hasn't it? That's what that is. The sponsorship money ran out, and yeah. So they're keeping some money in. Have they done anything with the stadium? They have. So the stadium has been increased to a 30,000 capacity. They've upgraded the facilities as well. So they have done something in the background. Then the corporate is still adequate, nothing exciting. So, yeah, you give a club £1 billion, they can make it to the Premier League then. They can do a little bit of a upgrade to their facilities, but not a great deal. And they've not been a great success. You give them that much money early on. It was £1 billion spread over, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it was. And, yeah, they get relegated, promoted, relegated. Yeah, it's not good. Right, on to the next one. Right, so in this scenario, we have built a spectacular stadium. It's immaculate. It's an 82,053 capacity. We didn't touch the facilities, so state-of-the-art training facilities, superb youth facilities, and the youth level has been all on their own. So all we did was say, Fratton Park, bang, new Fratton Park, bang, and put a 82,000 capacity stadium in its place. And we can see that they are in the Championship. So if we go straight to the Championship and see exactly how they've gotten on. So they managed to survive in their first year. In the second year, they managed to just about hang on. In the third year, they've hung on. In the fourth year, they've hung on. In the fifth year, they've hung on. Year 6, they finally get relegated. So year 7, They stroll the league by 6 points. Then they just about hold on in 32, 30. Oh, finally in 33, 34, they are almost mid-table. Well, they are mid-table, not quite top half. And then last year, they are top half. So eventually something kicked in. So finance-wise, they've got 18 million in the bank there. Look at that income. Can we see income at all? Last season. Turn. It's not like the old days when you could click in and actually see the club finance. Admittedly, as a manager, you wouldn't really delve too much into the finances of the club. You just want to know your budgets. And talking of budgets, they've got 6 million to spend. And let's see what they've done over their history in transfers. So this is when they were to start having some money, and they bought Aaron Connolly for 7.5 million. Didn't really sell anyone. Oh, that money, they enabled them to spend 18.75 million, 13.5 million on Josh Edwards, who has since retired, so we won't know too much about him. There's another 2.7 million on Odell Afire. 8.75 million, which they spent 6.25 on Ben Whiteman, who's now a coach. Wrong year, sorry. And 1.3 million on Valencia from Montpellier. After that, in 29-30, they spent 47 million. They must have had a crowd or two. Aurelio Olas at Groningen for 4.7, 3.2 on Nico Breschneider, another 5.25 on Yuki Ashari, 10.25 on Alex Matos. They've not really done a great deal of transfer business, have they? They've spent the money. So there's another 41 million spent here. A Marku from Wednesday for 9.5 million. A couple of £2 million purchases. 11.75 million on a Fortuna Sittard player, Makan Aiko. And Ellis Sims was purchased for 13.75 million. No real outgoings. Right, this year they've managed to balance the books somewhat. Sedilla for 3.2, Linde for 4.4, 8.5 million on Sambo, and they managed to sell Nixon for 6.25 and Oosting for 4.4. Another year where they balanced the books, really. El Kachati for 4.4 million. 4.4 million on Stephen Thomas. 1.4 million on Mark Juland. They brought in 8.75 million on Aidan Brody. They've sold £19 million worth of player. Nagasa. They signed him on a free and sold him for 19 million. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. So their best bit of business is signing someone on a free transfer. And this year they spent 37.5 million, 6 million on Skinner, 19.5 on Josh Stevenson. Is he any good? Doesn't look too bad, does he? Feeney for 7.5 million, 2.5 million on Nixon. And then, yeah, all in all, we can see that the stadium's generating them some cash and they're not spending it great. And they've really struggled. So it begs the question whether there's a bit of a downer on Portsmouth in the database that they're not considered particularly good. I'm not sure. So if we have a look at the edit, can we see anything in club details that would give us any information? Doesn't look like it. Existing tactical improved, team cohesion, moved bands, allowed licensing. Yeah, it's like we've run 3 experiments. One, we've given them a golden generation. They've not used it. We've given them masses of cash and they've not really spent it on anything any good. They certainly haven't improved. And then we've given them a massive stadium that's generating funds, but it's enabled them to splash the cash on some players, but they haven't really done anything. So it does beg the question whether there is something in the database to say this particular team will never be any good. Or the AI just says, I'm not very good at picking players. Who knows? But yeah, I'm not sure what's the best one to go for. Do you give... I think we've proven that if you give them a stadium, that will help them keep going in the future, generating cash, and they'll do it themselves that way. And you never know, in 10 years' time, with that stadium, with that extra cash generation, perhaps they would get better. But there we have it. All in all, we know that given a golden generation, a huge stadium, and £1 billion in 3 separate saves, they've done absolutely nothing with it. So, yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed all that and know not to give Portsmouth any money or any assistance in the future. And, yeah. Right. Until the next time. Ta-da.